What's up, guys? Good to see you. It's Carb Day, baby. So listen, this might freak some of you guys out and this might make some of you very excited. You just can't wait to get your hands on those carbs. Either way, I just want to talk about Carb Day. I want to share my experience with Carb Day, and I also want to tell you a few guidelines, a few things to take into consideration on your first Carb Day. Now listen, I set up Keto Cycle as a way to take the ketogenic diet, take it mainstream, and allow people to use it for the rest of their life. That's the way I wanted to use it. I've kind of crash dieted and done periodic diets my entire life, whether it's dieting for competitions, dieting for photo shoots, dieting for wrestling meets. I wanted to finally get off a diet and create a lifestyle. So I found the ketogenic diet. It solves absolutely every problem there is. It's the secret to weight loss. It's the secret to health and longevity. It's the most amazing diet ever. But I found very quickly that I couldn't do a ketogenic diet the rest of my life. As amazing as the benefits are, it's just very hard to avoid the good things, the good carbs in your life, you know? I wanted to go out with my wife and be able to get pizza. I wanted to be able to have ice cream on the weekend sometimes, you know, a glass of wine. I just wanted to be human for a day and not have to worry about dieting. Also, there's things like work parties, you know, it's Labor Day weekend, you know, and you want to go out and just enjoy it. So that's what the Keto Cycle was created for. You're taking yourself through a ketogenic phase and then allowing yourself to just live for a day. Now, that might freak some people out because you go through the adaptation phase, you're getting all these amazing benefits, you've trained yourself to eat the ketogenic way, you've given up carbs mentally, now all of a sudden Carb Day comes up and you're freaking out. You're like, am I going to gain a bunch of weight? Am I going to get addicted to carbs all over again? You know, that's normal for you to feel, but I promise you that taking a Carb Day is going to be beneficial for you mentally and physically, okay? Physically, you know, physiologically, here's what happens, okay? You have, your glycogen tank is down at the bottom by the time your Carb Day comes up. Remember, glycogen is stored carbohydrates. So, when you eat those carbs, really whether they're good or bad, they're going to convert to glucose, okay? They're going to raise your blood sugar, right? And your body's going to secrete a hormone called insulin, which we've talked about before. Insulin is going to take that glucose and it partitions, okay? It prioritizes where it wants to store the glucose. Since you have very low muscle glycogen and liver glycogen, the glucose is going to start going into the muscles first, and all that insulin is going to take the glucose and start shoving it inside the tank, and your tank fills up, fills up, fills up, fills up, right? And by the end of the day, you might be here, okay? It takes about 500, 600 grams at the least in order to fill up a completely empty tank, okay? And if you guys are on the Keto Cycle, you know, even if you're on the short cycle, the most you're getting is 350 grams of carbs. It's not really enough. I've built in the safety measure for you guys. It's not really enough to fill up your gas tank completely. But here's what happens if you continue to eat carbs or you go over the threshold that I've given you in the program. So the glycogen tank fills up, fills up, fills up. Eventually it gets to the top and you get what's called spillover, meaning now insulin is going to take the remaining glucose molecules and it says, all right, well, the glycogen tank's filled up, so let's start storing it inside fat, and it spills over. The tank spills over and you start storing fat. If you are following the Keto Cycle, that will not happen. Like I said before, I've built in precautions to make sure that that's not going to happen to you. Also, if you are doing the long and the super cycle, your carbohydrate limit is restricted even more, so it even further prevents you from having to worry about that. Now listen, with that said, carbohydrates, you know, I remember my very first Carb Day and a lot of clients I've worked with, and you go and you blow it out, man. You know, you eat whatever the hell you want. You know, you're going for the candy and the donuts and the waffles and the pancakes and all that stuff, and you wake up in the next morning and you're like, whoa, what the hell just happened? You feel like you got uppercutted, you feel like you're back in college and you woke up with a hangover. Carbs do make you feel like crap, okay? They really do. They make you feel like crap. And they also make you retain water. So carbohydrates, water follows carbs into the cell, okay? And it will make you retain water. So you'll wake up, you might feel bloated. You know, it also, carbs cause some inflammation. So you might wake up feeling a little bit of inflammation. But you really don't have to worry about that, guys. Within a day or two, that will go away. Now, Obviously, carbohydrates will knock you out of ketosis. That's the other thing. So when you wake up in the morning, you will no longer be in ketosis, but do not panic, do not freak out. You will be back in ketosis within 24 to 48 hours. That's what I've found personally, and with every single client I've worked with has been the case. If you work out, that is going to get you into ketosis even faster, because remember, it's all back down to burning off that glycogen again. So, it will knock you out of ketosis, but it's also, it's just a good thing. You've got your fix. You went to the gas station, you got your fix. Now you're back on the road. The journey continues, and you're going another 2 weeks before your carb day, or if you're on the super cycle, another 3 weeks, and it just kind of gives you a reward, okay? And before you know it, you're gonna hit your goal, and ideally, you'll find a place where you can follow this lifestyle, live the ketogenic diet way, but still be able to give in and have some fun on the weekend, one day on the weekend, and that's the way you kind of need to approach it. One final thing. If you are on the short cycle and your goal is to build muscle, I kind of think you can eat whatever you want when it comes to carb day, as long as you stay within your limit. That's personally what I have done. I can get away with that. I've had a client that I'll show you the progress here. He was on the short cycle. This is a transformation of 4 months. He ate whatever he wanted on the weekends. Okay, he tracked his stuff very closely though. But I mean, he was sending me pictures of sushi and cake and every single weekend, just blowing it out, and he still got amazing results. Now, here is a picture of my other client who was doing the long cycle. Now, his goals were completely different. He was at risk for diabetes. He was obviously overweight. He needed to lose weight, and he needed to lose it fast. So the approach we took with him was, you're gonna take your carb day, but you're gonna limit how bad the carb day is. What our strategy was with him was, we're going for good carbs. Good carbs are slow digesting carbs. So brown rice, sweet potatoes, quinoa, oatmeal, green leafy vegetables, things like that aren't gonna blow his blood sugar and insulin levels through the roof, okay? So he took the good carb approach, but he also allowed himself one meal on his carb day where he just kind of ate whatever he wanted. That might have been a burger and fries, maybe he wanted a little bit of ice cream, something like that. So it worked amazing for him, and he got results. The point is, you're gonna have to take your first carb day and learn, just like everything else. And you might say, oh, I kind of blew it out. That wasn't so good. My next carb day, I'm going to try doing something a little different. Maybe I'll try doing, good carbs with a cheat meal. Or maybe you might take your first carb day, and you'd be like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I blew it out of the water. I'm right back on it. I'm looking forward to my next carb day, and that's cool too. But whatever you do, don't guilt yourself over carb day. Don't feel bad throughout the entire time. You freaking deserve your carb day, okay? It's normal, all right? Yes, carbs are the enemy. Yes, carbs make you fat. But yes, carbs are everywhere, and to avoid them for the rest of your life is just not realistic. Like I said before, ideally, you should do ketogenic diet for the rest of your life. And if you're watching this video and you do a ketogenic diet and you do plan on doing it for the rest of your life, more power to you. But I myself and a lot of people that I've worked with, I have to live realistically. I have to realize that, I'm gonna have to give in, and I just want to be human, and it works for me. It's worked for tons of people, guys. This plan, Keto Cycle, will change your life. It's all about positive mentality, okay? Stay strong during the keto days. Nail the keto days. When carb day comes up, hit it. Do whatever you got to do on your carb day and get right back on the train. You keep marching forward, and it's a beautiful thing at the end. And the next thing you know, you've established a lifestyle. You're not on a freaking diet anymore, okay? You're on a lifestyle. You can plan it out too. You can say, oh, well, listen, I know Mary's birthday is on Saturday, so I'm just going to make that my carb day. Or we got a football game that we're going to go to on Sunday night, I'm going to make that my carb day. It fits into your lifestyle. You can plan the diet around your lifestyle. So that's it, guys. I'm sure you have questions. If you do have questions, make sure you email me, jason@ketocycle.com. Keep up the good work, guys. Much love.